Hi, welcome to the Real Estate Disruption Podcast. Companies like Airbnb didn't just provide an alternative to hotel rooms, it literally plowed over the hotel and real estate industry, if you think about it. Today, the real estate industry is experiencing monumental disruption coming from all kinds of directions, including prop tech, AI, legal, media outlets, taxation, and even governance. Hi, my name is Frank D'Angelo, and I'm a real estate broker in Minnesota, and I'm your host of the Real Estate Disruption Podcast. I have a very special guest. His name is Yessaad, who is known as an internet strategist, a mindset trainer, but mostly as a production coach in my eyes. Welcome to the podcast, Key. How are you doing? Did I get that pretty much straight in terms of what you're doing and all of that stuff?
Yes, that's what I do. I want people who are in this industry to bring a level of professionalism higher, and that matches production, and to leverage the tools at their disposal or the tools of their brokerage disposal.
Wonderful, wonderful. You're very well known. You have a great following of real estate agents and people who have been taking some of your boot camps, some of your production camps, and so forth. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, your titles that you currently have. What's your day to day? What are you aiming at? Maybe what's your end game for the industry and for the people that you're serving?
All right, my day to day is very simple. I'm focused primarily on training agents to produce. And I differentiate agency to two camps. The dabblers, the people who do it as a side gig, I don't want them. And the professionals, the people who are committing to full time doing this business because they want to serve their client well, because they want to study the market. My focus is on the professionals, the people. By the way, I call them professionals even if they don't know anything about real estate. They're choosing to approach it like a business. And then we have the dabblers. The dabblers, I'm going to put them aside. They don't serve our industry. They actually hurt our industry. Some of the disruptions you were talking about were due to those people being in the industry. So I'm going to separate that. So I do really three things. I do the boot camp. I do 4 of them a year. They're 3 months long. They're a huge commitment. About 50 to 60 people apply, and only about 20 end up doing the boot camp. Why? Because it's a commitment. It's not called a walk in a park. It's called a boot camp. The second thing I do is I travel to do my production and listing workshop. They are all day long. They're usually from 9 to 5. And when brokers, regional owners, or agents themselves, there are enough of them in an area, I come in and I do an all-day workshop on that. And I selectively do one-on-one coaching, primarily with team leaders and what I call brokers with a vision, brokers who want to go somewhere. So that's my day to day. My background, you already know, I come from mathematics. I used to teach mathematics at UCLA. So I have a well-grounded academic approach to training. I'm not a feel-good trainer. I'm more like, let's get to work. These are the things. Let's break it down. Let's break down what you need to do at the door, face to face, on the phone, on your scripts. You can keep asking me. I don't know what else you want to know. You know me very well, my friend.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate it, Keith. Before I go deeper into this, how do people get a hold of you? Because I'll put it in the show notes later on, but just make sure you put that out in the podcast because some people who are in the dabblers maybe are going to make a commitment in the next quarter and say, I choose to go to the professional side, and I like what Key has to say. So tell us, how do they find you?
Well, take my name, Google it, you'll find me. Key Yessaad, Google it. If you don't find me, Houston, we have a problem.
Wonderful. As an internet strategist, I know you know what you're doing in that department as well. So wonderful. Cool. So let's go into, you really are doing something special. Even one of my agents speaks so highly about you and have taken your boot camps and things like that. So in terms of those special things, those certain types of agents that you're talking about, the professionals, you're getting some remarkable results. Tell us a little bit about why they're getting remarkable results from your boot camps or your trainings.
Because before they get into the boot camp, there's an understanding that accountability is the name of the game. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Do what you're going to do. And I'm absolutely okay with you making mistakes. So let's say you're a new agent and you have this fear of being on the phone. I totally get it. I'm going to prepare you. I'm going to give you the scripts. I'm going to give you the mindset. I'm going to give you the approach. I'm going to tell you not to sell anything, but you have to do it. And you may say, but I'm scared. I'm like, thank you very much. You have to do it. I don't feel like it. Thank you very much. You have to do it. Because real estate is not an information business. It is a face-to-face connected business. We talk to people. And I usually say to all of the people who attend my classes, you're really wasting your time. If you talk to enough people in business, you'll make money. So the only reason you're here is because you're afraid of talking to people and you want me to find hacks or shortcuts for you to talk to them without looking foolish. And I totally get that. That's why they have coaches like you. You help them navigate conversations. So the only reason I get results in my boot camp, first, you have to commit to doing the work, regardless of the outcome. Number two, you're going to be recording a video a week, whether you like it or not, on scripts, what I call the fundamental scripts of real estate. How to talk to a FISBO, how to talk to an expired listings, how to talk to a seller, how you talk to a family who's getting a divorce. How do you help them with that? How do you help somebody who is wanting to buy, but they don't know where to start? Those are all scripts. We call them the fundamental scripts. And what I make you do, I don't want you to know the script. I want you to record a video of you doing it in a private settings with the rest of the boot campers so that you get uncomfortable. The moment you go past that discomfort, talking to people becomes easy.
Wonderful. Let's drill down on your accountability piece because that's a real big piece for me as well, in helping our agents succeed and so forth. So tell me a little more about that accountability piece. Do they have like an accountability partner, or do you go back into the group and they have more people? Tell me a little more. Drill down there.
I do exactly what you do. Listen, remember I told you I come from academia. And by coaching and training people in mathematics and physics and helping them, what I used to do in my classes in the 80s, I would create triangles. Am I right? You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly because I heard you speak at the convention about creating these triangles. So what I do, I select 3 people and I put them in a pod of 3. And each pod, like you said, one is talking to our listings and then they rotate. So by putting them in a pod, when one of them is weak or one of them is not feeling the strength, the other person picks up. So if you put them one-on-one, it becomes sometimes they compete against each other. When you put them in a pod of 3, they actually collaborate more. Actually, 4 doesn't work because if you put 4, they start pairing up. I don't know why. Humans are weird. You know that. You're a coach, so you've experienced that. So a pod of 3 is the right number for success partnership. I call it accountability partnership. And what I do is each week they get an exercise to work on. They discuss it. They do their homework, and then they publish it. So they're working as a pod of 3, and that has worked because then you're learning from each other and you don't feel like you're out. You feel like you're part of something.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. When you get just one accountability partner, if that person's not feeling it, then the other person's solo. I agree. So wonderful. Thanks for elaborating on that. So let's kind of switch gears. Obviously, you do a lot of reading and studying, and maybe you listen in on podcasts. And so, do you have like a favorite book or podcast or something that you want to share?
Well, I don't know if this is going to be a video podcast, but There are books behind me, just so
Yeah,
people know. I tell people if you're going to be in this business of becoming an entrepreneur, the first thing the book you need to read is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Michael Gerber wrote an amazing book, and you can go to used bookstores and you'll see it for 25 cents, and it just breaks my heart because that book is so brilliant. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People should be a must read by anyone. Organize Tomorrow Today by Jason Selk is an excellent book if you need to get your mind like if you really believe you're in a business, you should have a plan. And if you don't know how to organize tomorrow before it happens, you're not really in business. You're just winging it. You're making stuff up as you go along. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Brian Tracy has a great book called No Excuses. He's reminding you that you're not an employee anymore. You are a business owner. You're running a business. So, from a book point of view, those are some of the books. I have more, but those are a few that I really recommend every agents read. But to be honest with you, when it comes to podcast, I'm more of a science, mathematics, physics podcast. I like Brian Greene. Brian Greene has this YouTube podcast called World Science Festival. I love watching that. Does it mean anything? No. Does it make a realtor better? No. It has nothing to do with that. Sean Carroll has a Mindscape, what I call podcast, video, YouTube, and in it he talks about the integration of philosophy and physics. I'll give you a simple one. Do you
sure.
know Adam Savage from the
Yes,
Mythbusters?
yes,
He has an excellent, excellent podcast. And
yes.
I love listening to him. And I feel energized and feel good about myself. I love who he is as a person. So my podcast has a lot to do with lectures in physics, mathematics, not necessarily in politics, not necessarily in real estate, because I do real estate all day long.
Right, right. Well, oftentimes we need to get outside of that world, right? Just to understand exactly what's going on. And that's why I like to ask that question right up front. So let's go back into the real estate world. You know, you talked a little bit about your dabblers and your professionals. In my experience, real estate agents get caught up. They're always looking for new hacks or shortcuts. And it's just a natural thing for human behavior to look for something that's a shortcut or what are your thoughts on this? Because some of the professionals are over here, and then they see something on social media and it looks like it's a shortcut, and say, "Oh my gosh, should I go over in that direction?" Or they see some shiny object. What are your thoughts there?
All right. This you picked up a whole topic that we could talk about for 3 hours. So
Yeah,
first of all, the instinct, the desire to want a shortcut or a hack is simply because you don't want to do the grind. Just be honest about it. There's a grind, there's a thing you got to do. There's 10 push-ups and you want to see, is there one push-up I can do that does not require me to do 10? Is there one class I could take in physics that doesn't require me to do 6 years to get a PhD? It's an illusion of showing up to a coach, let's say basketball, and throwing the ball once and getting it in the net and saying, "Put me in the NBA." And you go, "What? There's no shortcut. That shortcut does not exist. That hack does not exist." But I want to talk about the necessity and desire for shortcuts, hacks, things to do. If you know what to do, you will use shortcuts properly. Meaning, if you already know how to speak to people face to face, on the phone, and you know how to, show a property properly, you know how to, let's say, know exactly when it's the time to have them sign on the contract. You don't push them, you do it just right because you've practiced it, you know how it works. If you know how to do that, learning how to use YouTube is easy. Using YouTube does not make you a professional. It's the other way around. So
right.
everybody who is leveraging AI, YouTube, social media, are people, the good ones, are people who have a good foundation. They know the grind. You can't come to my class and say, "Key, I want to learn how to do physics," and you don't know trigonometry. I'm like, dude, Sorry, not going to happen. Let's spend some time learning trigonometry. Let's learn about circles. Then you'll be ready to learn about advanced physics. And the desire for shortcuts is really a human nature because we're after the result. We're not after the professionalism. A good professional puts in the hours. A person who wants just the money looks for shortcuts, in my opinion.
Perfect. Perfect. So right now, real estate agents and even companies and franchises and so forth, they're experiencing a ton of disruptions, just all kinds, from all kinds of directions, like I talked about in the introduction. You know, we're seeing disruptions from the legal department, we're seeing disruptions from the National Association of Realtors, we're seeing media outlets, we're seeing technological, prop tech, AI disruptions. You know, what's your opinion on the solutions to all of the disruption that's coming into this space, particularly for, the professionals you're dealing with?
Well, first of all, if you're a professional, let me tell you what the definition of a professional. A professional adapts. Adaptation is the name of this game. Before the internet, we did not have MLSs on the internet. We did it manually, and we still made money. So it's not that we used to do it on books. Now we do it on the internet, and oh my God, I have to learn everything new. No, if you were a professional who did it that way, if you were doing advertising in the newspaper, you now learned how to do advertising on Google or social media. So you adapted, you didn't transform. You didn't become a new human being. We didn't get rid of you and replace you with a new human being. We just took you and helped you adapt. So adaptation for me is good. But also, let's go back. Let's go back to that legal challenges we had in 2024.
Yep.
It happened because we allow a lot of dabblers in our industry. And those dabblers do not take care of their clients properly. They lie to them, they manipulate them, they tell them things that are not supposed to be true. They are after the money, they're not after the professionalism. So some of the things that happened in 2024 from the legal point of view was of our own making as an industry, because the bar of joining real estate is so low. It's like you just, if you can breathe, you can have a license. So we have to realize that we have way too many agents for the industry, number one. And number two, we only have about 25%, and I'm being generous, who are really professionals, full-time. They understand the word fiduciary. Most others, they go, I'm looking for the money. This is why you see them, you know what you see them do? They leave one office to go to another office, to go to another office, to go to another office, because they're dabblers. They're not committed for the long term. A good professional works long term.
Yeah, exactly. I believe the major influencers, those top producers, have a very, very, very intentional approach to identify exactly where to play in this industry, how to win in the future, especially how to ensure their organizational resiliency in the face of unforeseen, disruption. Now, I've coined that as strategic foresight. From your vast experiences associated with the trends, the disruption, the uncertainty, what's the best advice for someone who may be struggling right now because of any of the most recent disruptions, or maybe frustrated with the current business environment that we have, whatever, is in the way for them? What's the best thing you can tell them?
Well, it depends on what you mean by struggle. There is what's called real struggle. Hey, coach, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? See, that's a real struggle. I can work with people like that. I go to my coach. Hey, I really want to go talk to that FISBO, but I'm scared. Can you give me some pointers? Help me. I'm struggling with that. See, that's a real struggle. We can work with that. We can show you how to approach them, what to bring with you, how to speak about their listing, how to engage them, how to follow up with them. That is the right type of struggle. So if you're struggling in that arena, listen to your coach, go to your broker, they will guide you. If you're saying I'm struggling because I don't want to do anything and I want to make money, I don't have any advice. I really don't. You got to do the work. So, Frank, if you are supposed to make 5 phone calls to new people today, 6 follow-up calls, and 2 letters that you have to send, get it done.
Right.
Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about what you're going to get. Do the work. Step up. Say what needs to be done. Put it in a plan. Have your broker or mentor or coach review it to guide you because they know what they're doing. They're going to guide you. And you do the work. Don't worry about the outcome. The outcome always happens. So it depends on what advice. If you're new, ask for help. We're here to help you.
Right.
If you are somebody who does not want to do any work and you want outcomes, I have no solution for you.
Right. They can't do it by themselves. And I've always said that learning and leadership are indispensable to each other. And we know someone by the name of Steve Morris, who that's one of his Morris codes, and I believe that wholeheartedly. So
Agreed.
thank you. So there's this dude that, we call him Roy Amara's. He's got a law, and we tend to overestimate the effect of potential early disruption in the short term, right up front. I think of AI right away off the top of my head, right? All the hype about it. We tend to overestimate it early, and then later on, maybe a few years down the road, we kind of put it behind the back door. We're no longer thinking about it like we thought about it when this early disruption arrives. But then the long-term effects start to really influence. So I'm wondering if you can identify a particular disruption that you're seeing from the past, or where that agents saw this huge disruption early and then they ignored it, and then potentially down the road that particular disruption could be something big. Is there anything that you can identify there?
Well, for me, here. I always like to ground people into reality. The people making the decisions about buying or selling are human. Human use emotion. Human do not buy or sell homes logically. They buy them emotionally. People will go, no, no, no. But kid, they need to hear how much money they're gonna make. No, if they're selling, there's an emotion. If they're buying, there's an emotion. Something is causing that to happen. For me, if you wanted to leverage AI to become more understanding of the human nature of the struggle. How do I talk to somebody who's going through a divorce? How do I talk to somebody who just lost somebody in their family and now they have to sell? How do you talk to somebody who so you could leverage AI with somebody who's struggling with, let's say, a foreclosure, to develop an understanding and empathy so you can talk to them better. But at the same time, experience is really your best friend because experience tells you this is how you approach people. So when I look at AI, when I look at what's happening with Google and being the top search engine and now may not be the top search engine, it doesn't matter. If you know that visibility is driven by meta tags, you will continue to blog and continue to educate via video and do podcasts like you're doing to reach out to people. Because when people know you, you have a chance. If people don't know you, you don't have a chance. How will they pick you to list your home if they don't know you? So can you use and educate yourself on all of the tools that are available out there? Yes, but there are 2 tools I don't want people to forget. Walk up to someone and say, hi, my name is Frank. I'm your local realtor. I just wanted to introduce myself. If you have any problem with real estate, questions about real estate, I can help. Don't forget that. That's the most AI you can get. It's like walking up to someone, shaking their hand, or saying hello and introducing yourself, having a name badge, having a smile on your face. That is, by the way, a lot of sales happen because of that. And the second one, learn how to be on the phone. Stop relying on text messages. Pick up the phone and say, hey, we were just talking. I think I have some ideas for you. and you start talking.
Right.
And humans love to talk. So talk to people. So if you're telling me I'm going to leverage technology to make these two things, being on the phone and being face to face, better, I say you're on the right track. Keep at it.
Perfect. Keith, today, most of the entire real estate transaction is taking place online, right from the search to setting up showings, to even doing virtual tours, to even transacting everything with e-signatures and acquiring real estate. I mean, oh my goodness, it's all online. And we're finding that the agents are being trapped into, well, everything else should be online. And you kind of hit it on the head. We've all practiced in these digital circles, from blogging to video to all of that. And the influx of this, all the other disruptions coming into our spaces just seems to put a mindset that they're trying to take the human out of the transaction. And it causes some friction. And obviously, when there's friction in the industry, there's confusion. And then I see it becoming an opportunity for your professionals, for the professionals who are transacting the majority of the business. It's a small number of people and all of that. So I don't know what your thoughts
I
are
agree.
all
No,
of
I
that.
totally agree. Uh, uh, you want to be aware what is happening, but don't reduce everything to that. That's called over reductionism. When AOL came in, people said the post office should close their doors because everybody will email.
Yeah.
Trust me, one of the best thing you can do as a realtor is send a thank you card. I met you last week at Walmart. We talked about your grandfather moving. I was touched by your story. I'm professional in real estate in Minneapolis. I love what I do. Please reach out to me. That card, that thank you card, has more AI power than anything you can get from AI. And people, we are still emotional. We still have a spine, a brain that is connected to it, and we are all emotional. And if we forget that, we forget that that's our asset. That's our superpower, our humanity.
Key, I want to close with that. That's it right there. You hit it on the head. That gap, that technological disruption, all of the gap, all that confusion that it's creating, we can't lose sight of empathy. And it's necessary to, pick up the phone. It's necessary to meet and talk with people and develop that necessary empathy for the people that we're serving. Key, I really appreciate all that you do in the industry, and I hope our listeners have the opportunity to connect with you going forward. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.